Hey, it's Chloe. Welcome to Chloe and the Culture, where we analyze pop culture content from a Christian perspective. In this video, we're going to be talking about the new Backrooms movie. I'll list some general info, give a basic common sense media style parent's guide, and then leave you with some of my thoughts on the film. Also, I'll try my best to keep this review spoiler free. With that, let's get into it. The Backrooms is a psychological horror movie directed by YouTuber Kane Parsons. He is 20 years old, which you may have already learned based on the memes on your Twitter feed at the moment. The film is set in the 90s and follows down-on-his-luck furniture store owner Clark, as he, his two minimum-wage teenage employees, and his therapist explore the Backrooms, an alternate dimension in his store's basement. As of writing, the film has made $200 million globally on a budget of just $10 million. This movie is single-handedly bringing back Gen Z to theaters, as well as absolutely destroying a major Star Wars film in the box office. If nothing else, I think this movie is great solely on the basis of throwing a Pedro Pascal movie into obscurity. Okay, with that, here's the parent's guide and content warnings. First, language and profanity. This is one of those movies that suffers from the same writing that most Apple TV productions I've seen do, where the writers want to get the point across that this show is for adults. So they throw in a lot of unnecessary swearing in the dialogue. Personally, I'm someone who's pretty comfortable with profanity in media. I think as long as the characters are written to sound realistic, and the realistic thing to do when running for your life from an unknown being is to curse, then that's fine. However, there are quite a few F-bombs, especially in the first scene, mostly used as filler words for panicky dialogue. This was one of my few complaints with the movie, but my theory is that they kept the profanity high to solidify the R rating. I'd give the language about a 4 out of 5. Next, violence. Okay, I am not at all a horror movie enjoyer. The only reason I went to see this movie was because my friend wanted me to go, and also it was kind of an event movie. So in terms of horror films, it wasn't quite what I was expecting. The fear factor comes mostly from suspense built up throughout exploring the claustrophobic alternate dimension and from seeing the mental decline of some of the characters. There is blood and violence more towards the end, but to me it didn't feel all that gratuitous. There's blood smears and maybe 2 severed heads in the background of 2 different scenes. One of them I wasn't quite sure if it was a real head or not, but still, keep that in mind. This following part may contain some light spoilers, by the way, so if you're watching, skip to whatever the timestamp is on screen if you want to skip that. They do a great job not revealing what the monster looks like until the very end of the movie, and it is scary, but more based on the concept of what it's supposed to be than its actual appearance. If you showed me a picture of it out of context, I would immediately start laughing at how goofy the CGI render is. But in the film it is scary, and there are multiple chase scenes that I was on the edge of my seat for. At one point, the beings from the Backrooms show up just to add an unsettling factor to the movie. They don't do anything scary, but there is some body horror of sorts. They're these weird humanoid things, but some of them have more eyes than they should, or more extra toes, or a weird face. They're just kind of there to look unsettling. One of them gets scalped by a main character while she's still alive, and then the character proceeds to put her hair onto another main character's head. So that part was weird and unsettling, and probably worth noting. Overall, I give violence a 4 out of 5. Definitely scary, but not to the extent that I was expecting. Next, sexual content. The sexual content was pretty low considering the genre of this movie, because there's not really a romantic subplot at all. I think one girl makes a side comment about some rope being kinky. There's 2 main characters who are dating, but they don't really do anything because they're side characters who don't matter to the plot. So I would give sexual content a 1 out of 5. And then next, we have the woke nonsense category. I threw this in because I wish someone would tell me this when I'm watching a movie, so I don't have to get angry later on when I see it in the movie and no one warned me ahead of time. So that's just my personal tangent. This movie surprised me with how normal it was, politically speaking. There's diversity among the casting, but that's fine because it's a real representation of what the 1990s in America looked like, so I didn't have a problem with that. The themes of the movie do cover mental health, but to me it seemed like the overall message was don't have a victim complex or it will ruin your life, which is a good attitude to have towards spiraling into mental health. I would give the woke nonsense category a 1 out of 5. Overall, I think this film might be okay for audiences aged 15 to 16 and up. The violence itself wasn't that bad. I think Quiet Place had more gore in it, if that helps your judgment at all. But the profanity might be too much for some, and the psychological freakiness definitely makes this movie a scary experience. Here are my personal thoughts on the movie. I definitely was not expecting to like it at all going into it. Like I said earlier, I am not a horror movie enjoyer, and I didn't really follow the internet phenomenon when it first popped up. I think back in 2020, I could be wrong on that. So I don't have any emotional investment in this movie. However, when we got to the theater, it was absolutely packed. I went on opening weekend, and yes, I did procrastinate making this video for a very long time. But anyways, I've never seen so many Gen Z in one theater. The AMC employees even carded us on the way in because apparently middle schoolers were trying to sneak in and watch the movie. I remembered why I love going to an energetic movie theater. I know the people on Twitter at first were complaining about kids talking during the movie, but my experience was the perfect combination of other people's verbal engagement with the film, and also shutting up and locking in when needed. And then I drove home in a thunderstorm and thought a pirate was going to lurch out of the shadows toward my car. So, overall, definitely it was a peak movie-going experience. I did enjoy the actual movie, too, not just the going to the theater and eating popcorn and being scared. For a while, I couldn't figure out what the intended moral was, because at first it seemed to me that it was, don't change anything about yourself because your flaws are just how you're wired. And I think that's a stupid moral for a movie, because that's not true. But then my frontal lobe activated and I realized, Chloe, you're the stupid one for thinking that was the moral. That's what the villain said the moral was. Have you never watched a movie before? So then I realized the error of my ways, and I swore for my penitence that I would never watch a movie again. The end. I'm quitting YouTube. No, but seriously, I don't know how intended this was supposed to be, but the moral of the movie seemed to be, stop whining, don't have a victim complex. If you do, you will be consumed by yourself, and also harm the people around you. Now, if that was the actual message of the movie, I think that's super based and the perfect message for Gen Z to hear right now. Okay, the following tangents contain some minor spoilers. Keep that in mind. Skip to whatever's on your screen if you want to skip those. I personally didn't love the ending. I understand why it was so open-ended, so it made sense within the movie. But open-ended conclusions are not my favorite thing in the world, personally. This wasn't necessarily a flaw with the film itself, more of just a personal gripe from my hyper-objectivist worldview. I liked Clark's character a lot and found myself siding with him over his wife. He did have some valid points, but I guess we also don't ever see the objective truth behind what happened, so he definitely could be making things up to make himself look like the good guy. The stoner boyfriend was funny. I liked him. A lot of people were really funny, actually. This movie did humor really well without undercutting the earnestness of the situation, which I appreciated after so many years of obnoxious Marvel-type humor. I thought the build-up to the scientist man was accidentally hilarious. There's several cuts to this mysterious Dr. Backrooms. I don't remember his name, so we're gonna go with that one. And when the protagonist finally meets Dr. Backrooms for the climactic explanation scene of what the Backrooms are, he just goes basically, I don't know, I'm crazy. And then the movie ends, and that was kind of funny in hindsight. Overall, I enjoyed the film. I would recommend it to those who do like scary movies but don't want gratuitous gore. But I would not recommend it to anyone who can't handle intense psychological thrillers. I would also recommend it to anyone who wants to humiliate Disney at the box office, because that's really funny that that's happening right now. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you found any value in this video, consider leaving a like, as it really helps out a small creator like me. Comment down your opinion on The Backrooms if you've seen it already. And if there are any other films you'd like me to review, leave those down below as well. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, consider subscribing. And click here somewhere. I don't know how editing works yet, I'll figure it out. Click here to see me overanalyze the demonic origins of anime. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to Chloe and the Culture, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye!